If we step back for a second and look back at Wario's history as a standalone character, you'll notice that he's more popular in 2D adventure games and minigame compilations, but you would think it would make sense for him to have his own 3D platforming game. Mario already had 2 3D platformers under his belt, and Luigi had a 3D game under his belt as well. It would make sense for Wario to have his shot at having a 3D platforming game as well. And luckily, in early 2003, Wario would have this chance. But oddly enough, people don't seem to talk about this game specifically in the same light as the Wario Land games, and that's kind of odd to me. Hey guys, my name is Blitzwin, and today we're going to be taking a look at Wario World. The story for Wario World isn't complicated and about what you would expect from a Wario game. See, Wario had this black jewel locked in a chest in his castle, but it breaks free and destroys his castle and transforms all of his treasure into monsters. So Wario sets out to kill this black jewel and get all of his stuff back. Wario World holds together pretty damn well as a 3D platformer, but as you can see from this footage, it's not exactly 100% a full-on 3D platformer like Super Mario 64 or Super Mario Sunshine. No, in fact, it's a hybrid between a 3D platformer and a sort of pseudo 3D beat 'em up. Actually, forget that. It's clearly half 3D platformer and half 3D beat 'em up. You'll be going around different worlds, platforming and beating the ever-loving shit out of a bunch of different monsters. Every monster you fight in each level varies greatly in design and strength, but not really in their form of attack. In fact, every single enemy you encounter, aside from a few different unique enemies in each level, are all reskins of each other. It can get pretty damn monotonous once you start actually paying attention to how each monster behaves, and you'll see that every single monster you fight in every single level behaves the exact same way aside from their attack strength. And sadly, this can get pretty damn monotonous once you realize you're fighting the exact same enemies with the exact same attacks, just with different skins and textures thrown on top of their models. That isn't to say that this is a bad game. In fact, that's far from the truth. This is actually one of the more enjoyable 3D platformers from the GameCube era. Wario feels really good to control. His jump bar can be easily angled whenever you're in the air, and hitting stuff feels especially good. The platforming in the game can feel a little janky given this is from the early 2000s, but that's not really that surprising. Graphically speaking, the game doesn't look too bad. It goes for this sort of photorealistic look, or I guess pseudo-photorealistic look with the way things are textured and the skyboxes and the leaves and everything. Character models are animated well and look pretty sharp, but everything else looks kind of blurry, which is expected for an early 2000s game, especially a game that was released early in the life of the GameCube. Still though, even by today's standards, the game doesn't look that bad. All of the levels in the game are structured in a very linear fashion, but not to a supreme extent. There are certain levels where you can just go back and forth between point A and point B. But the main goal of each level is to gather these red diamonds by going through these special puzzle room sub-levels. And on top of hunting these diamonds, you also need to be on the lookout for scattered pieces of gold statues of Wario. Super inflated ego aside, these statue pieces are actually important as they'll increase your overall health meter. You should also be on the lookout for these large, big-ass buttons with Wario's logo on them. If you hit them and locate the corresponding chest, you'll be able to find these big treasures, and if you find all of them, you can unlock micro games for WarioWare, which you can access by connecting the Game Boy Advance to the GameCube. Unfortunately, in my opinion at least, I just don't see the point of going out of your way to find all these treasures and unlock the micro games. You already have access to a ton of micro games which are already great on their own in the game, so I don't really think it's worth it. And even then, the buttons that let you open the chest are hidden in some really out of the way places, and even locating the chests themselves when you hit the buttons is a chore in itself because they're even more hidden, so you really gotta go out of your way to look for them. Going back to the red diamonds for a second, I mentioned before that they were hidden in these special sub-rooms, and they can be both immensely frustrating and also immensely rewarding to complete. There's 2 types of these rooms. Ones that are small puzzle rooms which are hidden behind wooden doors, and ones that are huge platforming challenges hidden behind these iron doors. Okay, calling all of them huge can be a bit of an exaggeration, but calling most of them difficult is not an exaggeration. Like this glue globe one, or this one right here with the slow ass huge turning platforms, like what the fuck? And then you have to figure out how to move these platforms right here with the fucking levers, and then you gotta run around this giant Halo-sized ring trying not to slip off. Like what the fuck is this? Anyway, once you finally locate all the red diamonds in a level, you can finally take on the boss that's waiting for you behind the door being guarded by the statue. These bosses can all vary wildly in both difficulty and the kind of boss you'll fight. Like here, for example, you'll fight a fucking living iron statue thing. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have the bosses of all the worlds you'll visit, and these vary a lot wildly in both strength and attack patterns as well. For example, we have the dual dragons right here, which is just basically a pair of dual dragons. And of course, then we have... That's a dinosaur in a bikini! No, I am 0% comfortable with this. Okay, getting back to semi-normal territory. Here we have Captain Skull. He's the skeletal cyborg pirate captain, and honestly definitely one of my favorite bosses since he uses the whole arena. And after him, we have... That is a fucking buff swole ass bull in a speedo! No, I have so many goddamn questions running through my head right now. Like what is this? What the fuck were these people smoking? No, seriously, I want to know what the fuck it was these people were smoking, because I really want some. This game is rated E for everyone. E for everyone! Alright, let's talk about the final boss fight against the Black Jewel. This is a fairly simplistic fight. You free the Spritlings from the crystals, and once you get a chance, you can beat the shit out of the jewel yourself. Again, it's a really simplistic fight. You just gotta run around the arena and free the Spritlings from the crystals and avoid these walls of flame. There's really not much to it, as disappointing as that sounds. But it is kind of cathartic seeing them flying around, and man, is it satisfying seeing the fucking jewel explode into a million fucking pieces. And finally, after beating the jewel, the Spritlings will gather and do this. And by gathering all the Spritlings, you'll be greeted with the best ending in the game. Wario World is definitely an interesting and really fun game. I still go back to this game time and time again, and I grew up with it. It's a game I hold very near and dear to my heart. I can still remember going to EB Games that day in 2003 and picking this game up along with NBA Street V3 because I wanted to play as Mario, Luigi, and Peach. And in spite of all of the game's extreme weirdness, I definitely still recommend this game. I am definitely curious as to who helped develop the game. Treasure Games? That makes sense. They developed Mischief Makers. With that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did or didn't, let me know down in the comments below, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time.